Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 board gaming video. Today is another update video where I'm going to be talking about some more upcoming games that I am really excited about. Again, we are in the middle of convention season, or what would have been convention season, and with GenCon having just finished up this past Sunday, there are a lot of games on the docket that are going to still be coming out in 2020 and a few that have been pushed to 2021 as well. So I wanted to put out 5 more for another month so that we can all get super excited, super jazzed up and ready to play some brand new games. That said, as always, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. What are some of your favorite games that have been announced, or are you just playing some of your old favorites? Let me know anything and everything in the comments below, because you know I love to hear it all. But that said, with that, we're going to get started right off with my number 5. At number 5, I have the collective Batman animated series expansions of Arkham Asylum and Shadow of the Bat. Essentially, these add additional missions to the cooperative game of Batman the Animated Series, with Arkham Asylum particularly adding in Clayface, which acts as a traitor mechanic. One player can be Clayface disguised as somebody and at some point reveal themselves and attack everybody. Whereas the Shadow of the Bat essentially just adds a bunch more missions that you can do. You can swap out villains and all sorts of different stuff. I love the animated series. I love the fact that these are based off of the original episodes and all that kind of thing, but it is simply more of the same, so relatively minor as far as expansions go. Still super excited because I love the series. Batman animated series expansions, my number 5. At number 4, I've got Imperial Struggle. This is another successor to the Twilight Struggle series of games, which, as you guys probably know, is one of my absolute favorites. Essentially, we have the modern era Cold War Twilight Struggle, and then the War on Terror Labyrinth, and now the 100 Years War based Imperial Struggle. So essentially, France and England were constantly fighting all the time, and this takes the mechanics of these other games and applies it to that situation. So we're talking about massive diplomatic control and all of this kind of stuff, and I'm very excited to see some of the historical context that GMT always brings to these games, where we have accurate events, people, and everything else going on. Very, very excited to play it. Can't wait to see it. Imperial Struggle, my number 4. At number 3, I've got Lock and Key, Shadow of Doubt, based off of the graphic novel and Netflix series of the same name. Essentially, this is very similar to social deduction games such as The Resistance, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, Secret Hitler, and that sort of thing. However, in the context of Lock and Key and the graphic novel and series and everything, it actually fits the narrative extremely well. And from what I can tell, it's going to be a little bit of a twist on the typical social deduction, where you're going to have some relatively unique mechanics and things like that. And specifically, if you're a fan of the theme and the stories and all of that kind of stuff, it seems like it's going to come out pretty well. So I'm tentatively very excited. That's why it's a little bit higher on the list, because I'm a big fan of the novels and everything. So hopefully it's going to be good. Lock and Key, Shadow of Doubt, my number 3. At number 2, I've got Scott Pilgrim, Miniatures of the World, based off of the graphic novel of almost the same name, and one of the most criminally underrated comic book movies ever. This is a game that came to us from Kickstarter and is really about to start a heavier rollout, where effectively you've got 2 teams, good guys and the evil X's. Every single character has some really unique and interesting powers. You've got level up systems. It has some very RPG-like qualities and all of that kind of stuff. And the fact is that I cannot think of much better way to demonstrate Scott Pilgrim than in a board game, because you have so much meta capability, so much fourth wall breaking, and so much of all sorts of different stuff all wrapped into one. I'm super excited to see how it is. I hope that I get a chance to play it relatively soon. Scott Pilgrim, Miniatures of the World, my number 2. At number 1, I have an expansion for Twilight Imperium, Prophecy of Kings. This is an enormous expansion for what is already a huge game. Essentially, we're seeing the addition of 2 new players, as well as a bunch of new species that you can play as. We've got leader cards that allow you to have further asymmetry throughout the game at the starting point. We've got new planets, new warp types. We've got new unit types. All sorts of different stuff, new cards and new everything. It's essentially expanding on virtually every single aspect of the entire game. I absolutely adore Twilight Imperium. It's one of my favorite games, and I would love, love, love to see how this expansion plays out. And so Twilight Imperium Prophecy of Kings is my number 1. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video on another 5 games that I'm really excited about after what would have been the 2020 convention season. So this is a type of video that I'm kind of leaning towards doing more of, because we're always seeing new Kickstarters roll out, as well as publishers just releasing whatever their new games are for the year. So please let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd be interested in seeing monthly, quarterly, whatever it happens to be, because again, I'd be excited to do it. I love learning about new games and seeing what I'm excited about, so let me know what you guys think. And of course, let me know what games you guys are personally excited about, whether games that have been released, got pushed back, whatever it happens to be, put it all in the comments below. That said, as always, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel in a bunch of cool ways. If you're still under quarantine, please stay home, please stay safe. Hope that everything is going well for all of you. But with that, thank you so very much for watching the video. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.